Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Alex Bell, and this is To the Point. In the weeks leading up to the election, ABC 10 has been out in the community engaging with voters and potential voters, giving them information on where and how to participate in the elections and asking people what barriers or concerns might keep them from voting. And while talking with some people at North Sacramento's Hagenwood Community Association last month, we heard that some voters found a lack of parking to be a barrier at their local voting center. So Becca Habegger, she went and checked it out.
Oh, come on in, hon.
Which one?
This one here. And how about an I voted sticker?
For the better part of a decade, Candace Hampton
You're welcome.
has overseen the Vote Center at the Greater Sacramento Urban League in North Sacramento's Del Paso Heights community.
I just think that it's important for people's voices to be heard. Why wouldn't you vote if that's the right that you have?
Voter Terralina Austin agrees.
Having this polling place within walking distance is so important to people because a lot of times small things can keep people from exercising their vote, and access is essential.
And research supports that, says Mindy Romero, director of the Center for Inclusive Democracy at USC's Price School of Public Policy.
Polling places, vote centers, in-person opportunities to vote are really important for everyone, but particularly for historically underrepresented groups.
ABC 10 heard from people who live near the Greater Sacramento Urban League and say they have trouble finding parking here when trying to vote. I'll admit, when I tried finding parking here, I had some trouble. Unless there's street parking open, you have to drive down the block to this lot. If you don't immediately see Urban League on the no trespassing sign, it can be confusing as to whether you're allowed to park here.
So you're just going to take it over to the pink box?
Okay.
So I took that concern to the league's president and CEO, Dwayne Crenshaw.
Well, we have additional signage out. We'll be putting more signage out. We've heard the concern. We're open to that. But we do have a parking lot, 25 spots on the corner of Marysville Boulevard and Roanoke. And so we'll work to increase the signage. But we really want people to have easy access.
He points out the vote center here is accessible in other ways, too.
We're on a major bus line here on Marysville Boulevard. We have drive-up voting outside.
Romero says elections officials are required to consider parking availability when choosing vote center locations.
So it's recognized at a state level and amongst advocates and community groups, period, that parking can be a barrier.
So we want to highlight here that the Greater Sacramento Urban League parking lot is just a short walk from the building and open to anyone coming to vote.
Look, somebody sacrificed so you could come out and vote. Please exercise your vote. Thank you so much. Let your voice be heard.
That's right. Let your voice be heard. All right, Becca's here with us now. And if people do run into any issues at a polling place like finding parking, there are other options, right?
Right. It's important to note that if you live in Sacramento County, you can go to any vote center within the county, not just the one closest to you. And they will find, your address and the right precinct for you because they put your name into the system. Also, if you have filled out that pink ballot, you can drop that off at any U.S. Postal Service post office. It just needs to be postmarked by election day. So make sure you're there before closing time on election day. Remember, the polls close tomorrow at 8 p.m. Post offices might close a little bit early, but you can bring it to a post office if parking is tough at your local voting site. And then finally, vote centers do offer curbside voting. So, I know here in Sacramento County, folks can pull up to the vote center. There will be a placard, or not a placard, but, a sandwich sign.
A little sign, yeah.
Yeah, with the phone number on it. You can give that a call, and they'll come out and assist you in voting curbside.
Feels like Target. Feels like Target when you
Feels
pull
like,
up.
exactly.
You type in your number.
You voted today.
Oh, I did.
How was that for you?
I saved this sticker for the moment. Let me not get my hair cut. I voted today. It was super easy. I walked right in. I wanted to go today because I feel like tomorrow's going to be a little crazy. But I went in. Me and our photojournalist, Xavier, we went in and it was super easy. Yeah, it was great.
Meanwhile, I'm waiting for tomorrow morning, so it will be super busy.
So if Becca's late, we know why.
Yeah.
All right, Becca, thank you. All right, so on this election eve, we are keeping an eye on false claims. Coming up later in the show, we'll be talking about why some people believe we are about to enter a misinformation nightmare and the steps you can take to make sure that what you are reading in the headlines is true. And of course, if you have any questions at all about the election, we've got you completely covered. Just text us on the number right here, 916-321-3310. And how convenient. The stormy weather is rolling in just in time for Election Day. Monica, what are we looking like for tomorrow?
I know. Did I sense a little bit of sarcasm in that?
That's why I voted today.
All right, here's a look at where we are right now. Now, the bulk of the storm has yet to roll through Saw a little bit of thunderstorm activity in the northern San Joaquin Valley. Snow starting to pick up right now for the Sierra. That line of storms now pushing its way into the mother lode higher up. Again, we are looking at snow along 80, 50, 88, 89, even 395 getting some of that snow. And it's going to be messy travel here as that colder air works in. Snow line will be dropping, and that adds to the instability with the risk of thunderstorms for our Election Day forecast. Heavy rain, gusty winds, some hail, and even some small funnels possible on Tuesday. And the hazardous driving conditions continue for the Sierra, with travel basically, bottom line here, discouraged not only for tomorrow, but extending through Wednesday with our winter storm warning in play until 4 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday. That just shows you the extent of the storm system. Only getting about 5 to 10 inches of snow so far earlier today. Rainfall totals about 1/10 of an inch to 1/2 an inch in the valley and the foothills. It was a bit of a mix of rain and snow early in the day in the Sierra, now turning over to snow. A look at that Election Day forecast straight across the board here. Scattered showers, chance of thunderstorms for the afternoon. And that means a messy morning and potential evening commute in store. Gusty winds will accompany that cold front as it starts to press inland. Winds up to 20 to 30 miles per hour down low. Gusts over 40 miles per hour in the Sierra. And look at this band of rain moving in overnight. It is just pouring. Early tomorrow morning, some slick roads for the morning commute. Even if it's not raining where you are, you're going to find splashing and visibility issues for the Sierra. Near whiteout conditions through the day. And that snow line coming down to about 4,000 feet. Not a whole lot of accumulation, but we'll still see it down that low. By Wednesday morning, things are starting to dry out, and then we finally clear out of this storm by Wednesday evening. But tomorrow's a rough one for us, delivering still about 1/2 an inch of rain for the valley, 1 inch to 2 inches of rain for the foothills, and in the Sierra, 2 to 4 feet of snow. Additional accumulation, well needed. But again, this is going to be a messy one for us with that rain developing overnight tonight. Lows falling into the 40s. Chance of thunderstorms for tomorrow. And as for that commute, I just put it in the red. Straight on through the morning commute. The evening commute, it's going to be dicey. Chance of thunderstorms on and off in the valley. So, Alex, it's going to be a wild ride for Election Day. Hopefully just weather-wise, not numbers-wise.
Yeah, I hope so, too. I hope it's just weather-wise.
Yes.
All right, but now is the perfect time to download the free, did I mention free, ABC 10 app for the latest updates on weather and traffic at any time of the day, especially if you're heading to vote in person. So you want to be prepared, download the app. Monica's got you covered on everything. All right, we're going to take a quick break from all the elections talk, but when we come back, headlines claim that a meteorite possibly burned down a house in Nevada County, but is that possible? Well, we're asking NASA. A meteor shower lit up the sky on Friday night, but not everybody was happy about it. So you can see on your screen right now, the fireballs there in the top left of your screen. This video was sent to us from Woodland, and get this, a man in Nevada County lost his house that night, and his family created a GoFundMe blaming the house fire on this meteor shower. So we reached out to NASA to see if this is even possible, and William Cook, a manager from the agency's Meteorite Environments Office, did confirm that the fireballs caught on video were part of the meteor shower that peaked this weekend. But they do not currently believe that any particles from any of the meteorites touched the ground or started any fires. And Cook said that fireballs disintegrated over different counties, and he says that even if meteors do hit the ground, they're generally cold by the time that they hit. All right, Twitter lost half of its staff, and after the break, we're talking about what this means for misinformation and disinformation as more voters are heading to the polls tomorrow. Ahead of tomorrow's election, California Attorney General Rob Bonta is calling on social media companies like Meta, YouTube, and Twitter to stop the spread of disinformation. And in case you missed it, Twitter's new owner, Elon Musk, just fired about half of the platform's staff. So the company's head of safety and integrity says the frontline moderation staff experienced the least impact from the layoffs. But former employees tweeted that the entire curation team and the ethics, transparency, and accountability team have been let go. They were responsible for creating information guides and studying how Twitter's algorithms affect the spread of misinformation. So let's go ahead and bring in Dr. Kim Nalder, who is the director of Project for an Informed Electorate at Sacramento State University. Kim, some people are saying that making these teams smaller will let disinformation run rampant. The Guardian saying it could be, quote, an information disaster. So how central is Twitter in our elections process?
Well, it is just the worst possible time for this to happen. It's like right before the big game, you lose a big chunk of your team and you still have to go into the game. Um, the, the effects on the election may not be as big as that sounds, though. Even if misinformation on Twitter is pretty rampant, it's not the major source of information for most Americans. But if you do look at Twitter for your news, you should take it with a grain of salt because there's unlikely to be the same level of moderation that we've been used to in years past.
And can you differentiate misinformation and disinformation for us?
Yeah, so misinformation is any information that is not correct. It's not factually correct. When it's in a person's head, it could have come from, an accident or something unintended. So sometimes, for example, we might take a story that's parody or satire seriously as if it's, not satire, and we would be misinformed, but that was by accident. Disinformation, on the other hand, is purposeful. It's something like we've seen the Russian government perpetrate on not just our democracy, but on other democracies around the world, where they're intentionally trying to cause chaos and, get certain folks elected and stop other people from getting elected.
And why do people tend to believe things that aren't true?
A lot of the time it's for emotional reasons. So one of the things that we know about humans' brains is that we have confirmation bias, meaning that we want to find things that we want to be true. And so even if it's not, we want to believe that it is. And another reason that people believe things that aren't true is that they've been told these things by people that they trust. So political leaders, media folks, friends and neighbors. If it's someone you trust and they're telling you things that are untrue, you're likely to believe it. And it's nice that it's part of human nature to be trusting, but it's not always warranted. So we need to be on guard even for, messengers that we generally think are honest.
And what are some tips that people can use at home, to help figure out if what they're reading is actually true?
It can be so hard. But one of the main things is that disinformation tends to target our emotions. And so if something sounds kind of outrageous and clickbaity, that's one of the signs. But if it also just kind of confirms political biases that you might have, and it just sounds a little too good to be true to you, it appeals to your emotions, that might be a sign. Good journalism is fact-based and has lots of sources. So if it sounds kind of sensational, emotional, one-sided, there aren't lots of sources, that's a good sign that you're probably not looking at something that's legitimate. Any good source will come from a reputable reporter, so you could look up their name and see if they're a legitimate reporter, or sometimes it's a bot. It's not even an actual human being. So social media accounts that were just created, don't trust those. There's just so much that we need to do, but the biggest thing is to be aware that people are out to try to fool you, and we have your guard up for that. Be ready for it and respond appropriately.
All right, Dr. Nalder, thank you so much. We appreciate your time. And we've had no shortage of questions this election season, and we encourage you to keep reaching out. But if you were wrote in and said in part, people in your recent broadcast on voting said they were scared about their votes not being counted due to getting lost in the mail, etc., how many ballots don't make it to the registrar? So we took that question straight to the source. Sacramento County told us, quote, we've had no reports of widespread issues with mail-in ballots not making it to our office, not this year, in 2020 or 2018 when we first started mailing ballots to every registered voter. They also noted that you can track your mail-in ballot using the ballot track system. It will let you know when the county receives and processes your ballot before it's opened. And there are 87 voting centers and 60 drop boxes for those who do want to deliver their ballot in person. As we mentioned earlier, it does not have to be the one closest to your home. You can find all of this information on abc10.com/politics. And another common question we often get is, why are the midterms even important? So there may not be a presidential race, but there's still a lot going on. And locally, we know that things like homelessness, abortion rights, and gambling are all on the ballot. And across the country, the balance of power in Congress is up for grabs. So here's a look at what the midterms are and what's at stake. What are the midterms? Midterm elections take place halfway through a president's 4-year term. The election is considered a referendum on how Americans are feeling about the first half of a president's term. And it's a chance for the minority party to flip the balance of power in Washington. While voters aren't electing a new president, there are federal, state, and local seats contested. So all 435 House seats are up for election as representatives serve 2-year terms. Senators, on the other hand, serve 6-year terms, and their election years are staggered. So approximately 1/3 of the Senate is up for election every 2 years. And this year, 35 of the 100 seats in the Senate will be elected. 36 states will elect a governor just this year. But what's at stake? Even though President Joe Biden isn't on the ballot, the midterm elections will play a big role in what the president can accomplish in the final 2 years of his current term. One of the biggest questions is whether Democrats will hold their narrow majority in Congress. Analysts predict that Republicans have a chance to take back both the House and the Senate. Historically, the party in power tends to lose seats during midterm elections. Since 1934, the president's party has an average of 28 House seats and 4 Senate seats during midterm elections. This year, Republicans only need to pick up 1 seat in the Senate to take back a majority. And again, we've got a one-stop shop for any questions you have about the election. Just text us at 916-321-3310. Before we go here, let's take a look outside at the Gilmore backyard. Very cool. I will admit, though, I haven't turned on the heat quite yet. Just wearing 2 pairs of socks and a sweatshirt. Monica said, though, that she's turned on the heat in her house. But Sacramento seeing 53, Stockton 52, Tahoe 24. We'll definitely turn the heat on in Tahoe. Here's a quick check. Every 10-day forecast, not looking too bad. Veterans Day coming up this Friday. With all of the spirit of democracy in the air, we're wondering, what does patriotism mean to you? We've been asking up, down, all around town and have gotten some very thoughtful answers. So here's what some of you had to say out at a polling place.
Oh, voting is very much a part of patriotism. I mean, I've been voting since I was 18, and I don't think I've missed an election, and it just makes me feel like I'm part of the whole picture, part of these great United States.
Patriotism is, to me, being loyal to your country. The flag means something, and then again, for me, oftentimes it doesn't, because it's not fair to people of my color. It has never been fair.
Now, tomorrow, we're taking the questions to some students out in Stockton and a group of veterans at Travis Air Force Base. We're covering a lot of tough topics, and we're talking about what does the American flag mean now, and separating a government from a country, and how patriotism has changed over the years. So you can catch that story coming up tomorrow at 6:30. And of course, I want to know your thoughts. What does patriotism mean to you? Text me at 916-321-3310, or you can also email me and the team. And I'd be remiss to not bring up tonight's billion with a B Powerball jackpot before we go. By far the biggest in history. Of course, I got my tickets right here. I can't show you my numbers because obviously I'm going to win tonight. But if you haven't gotten yours, the cutoff is in just a few minutes. What, it's 6:56 right now? Get out the door, get your ticket now, spend the $2. But who knows? You could win. There's been 40 consecutive drawings with no jackpot winner. So who's to say you might not get another chance? Of course, unless I win. But on that note, I'm going to go ahead and get ready for the jackpot. I got to start counting my money here. We're going to see what the numbers are. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow. Hey, it's Alex. Just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I really love hearing from everyone, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. Reach out to me on Facebook at AlexBellTV, or you can email me at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send me a text message at 916-321-3310.